Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today's episode is going to be all about the keys to success. So I'm going to be sharing with you how I have gotten my success, and I think how a lot of other people become successful and stay successful. So of course, the beauty industry, there's so many different ways we need to show up in our career, right? So we need to show up as good service providers. So we need to be good at our craft. We need to be good with talking to people, right? We need to be good with first impressions. We need to be good at sales. We need to be good at social media. We need to be good at so many different things. But the one thing I will say is consistency. So let me say that again. Consistency. So what I have found, and the things that I have found that have given me success, is just being consistent. So I consistently show up, right? I consistently am going to give that same great service every time that client sees me. I am going to consistently show up for myself in my own career. So consistency is really the key, and however you want to take it, and I'll kind of go through the different ways, is up to you. But that's really the one thing that I have noticed that has really impacted my not only success is what I consider success, but maybe what other people consider success, of like my paycheck or how much money my business has made or things like that. So, or how long my business has been open or how many clients come to me. Everybody's very different with what they categorize as successful. So think about that for a minute. Like, how do you categorize success, right? Do you categorize success in a money form? Do you categorize success in how long you've been open? Do you categorize success in taking your ideal client? Like, what does that look like for you? So, but I'm consistent. So I've consistently showed up even if I failed at something. So even if I failed at offering a service, or even if I failed at not doing the best job in what I thought I could do, I still consistently showed up the next day or the next working day and showed up and tried better, tried more things, tried different things. But that consistency is there. So I've consistently tried different marketing techniques. I have consistently tried, obviously, different services. I've consistently tried different ways to approach sales, especially with retail sales. I have consistently, but failure is part of success. So if you are, just starting off, let's say a new business, and you're just getting out of school, or you've been out of school for a while, been working for a salon and spa for a while, and thinking about going on your own, that consistency is where that, where everything is, where that sweet spot is, where that, the essence of the other side, so to speak. So you need to show up. You need to be consistent. So, for me, I've had clients come back to me after many years of not seeing me, mind you. And they were like, oh yeah, well, I was interested in this service again. I had this and this going on in my life, and I saw that you were in business still. I searched your name and so forth. So that consistency is what brought that person back, right? Of them knowing like, oh, she's still in business. She's still consistently working at the same thing, or she's still doing the same services that I remember her doing. The same thing can be true for many different things, right? So if we want to get better at something, so if you want to get better at one of the services that you offer, you have to consistently do it, right? So you have to do it over and over and over again until you really master that. If you want to get better at selling retail, like we all want to get better at selling retail, let's be honest, you have to consistently do it. Consistently try different verbiage. Consistently try different ways to approach the conversation. Consistently try different products. Like maybe it's the actual product you're selling that's not, hitting it. So you see the theme here, right? Like, so I guess the two themes are failure and consistency, because you are going to fail throughout your career. Like, there's just going to be days where things are not going to work, and so that might feel like a failure. Or you're going to try a service and that didn't work, or you don't like it, that maybe can be considered a failure. But I never look at things as really like true failures in life. I always look at things of like, you learned from that experience. So I learned from the experience and now I know this, or I learned from that experience and now I won't do this, or I learned from that experience and I will do this. But that consistency is there as well, right? We are consistently showing up. We're consistently trying new things. We're consistently, offering that same great service. So that is probably my one true like key to success. Like, I get asked this question and people are like, well, what is your secret, or what is the actual key to success? People are kind of like looking and fishing around for that true answer that they think that I'm never giving them, but I can only give to certain people, or they're privy to that information. And I tell everybody the same thing. Like, you have to just be consistent with showing up in your life and your career and for your clients and for your successes in the future. And that's really the nitty-gritty of it, right? Is that consistency, people. So what I will say is, if you're having issues being consistent, and that's probably more helpful than me just telling you, be consistent, is write things down. So the one thing that has helped me over my life and career, so whether it be my personal life or my career, is I tend to have to write things down to thought map it out. So especially if something's not working and I feel stuck, or I feel like I'm repeating the same cycles, or if I'm continuously failing in one direction, I feel, then I start writing things down and seeing what the common denominator is, number one, and seeing if it's a good or bad thing, right? So if this is the common denominator in this situation, maybe I need to change it. Or just thought mapping, like sometimes putting things outside of the brain on paper, or if it's on an iPad, it doesn't matter. If it's on a computer, it doesn't matter. However you like to kind of put things out of the brain and onto some kind of material. So for me, it is all those different things. Like, I am old fashioned. I still work on Trello. So that's a good way for me to thought map sometimes of like different ideas. So I'll put different, things in my Trello boards. Or sometimes I physically write on paper. Like, you'll see, if you were at my desk right now with me, you would see there's a notebook that I made, and I have a ton of notes in it, and they're all upside down and all over the place because I tend to write notes kind of messy, but that's just who I am, and that's just how I read my notes. But it does help me be consistent, because then on days where I'm just not feeling it, or if I'm feeling stuck, I can always look back at my notes, and I can always look back at my Trello board, or wherever I put something, and usually those two places, and I can see like, oh yeah, I did have that idea, and then I can show up and still be consistent, right? So there's that fallback for me of like, okay, there's going to be days where you're just not feeling like you're taking enough action, or you feel like you want to take action but you're feeling stuck, or because that's part of consistency, right? Is that continuous showing up and continuous ideas or continuous effort. And so that's my one way to be more consistent. And another way is like really like not comparing ourselves, right? So I have found, especially when it comes to being consistent in my career and just in general of the beauty industry, we tend to compare ourselves to others, right? So like, we're comparing their success to where we are now, or we're comparing how they look online, or we're comparing all the cool little trendy retail that they have, or whatever. Like, that comparison is a thief of joy, right? I think you probably have heard that from something and somewhere, or maybe me, because I probably have said that once or twice. And so that comparison, though, it's going to keep you stuck. And so you're not going to be able to be consistent, because now you're just focusing on that. So instead of you just consistently trying things until something works for you, or trying that new thing out that you've been wanting to try, you're sitting there comparing, and you're getting stuck in that motion instead of consistently showing up and consistently trying. So, that's one way I've gotten more consistent, is I just don't compare. And if I do find myself comparing myself, or like scrolling on Instagram, because I like to go on Instagram, and if I can compare myself or compare something, or if I'm getting kind of jealous or whatever, because those are normal, I would consider them emotions even to have as a human being, I just remember, where is that coming from? So is this coming from a place of like, I am just feeling stuck in this moment, and then this person showed up, and now I'm feeling that I can point my anger towards them, or I can point my sadness and disappointment in myself towards them, or where is that actually coming from? And so really look at that, really look at those actions and see where they're sitting. And sometimes that is the secret of why you're not being consistent. And so writing things down, thought mapping, not comparing myself, like those are probably some ways that I've showed up to be more consistent. And then I will say, like, the last thing is, and this is going to sound really weird, but take days off when you need days off, or take breaks when you need breaks, or don't shove something that doesn't feel organic at the moment. So like for me, for instance, if I'm really just hitting a brick wall over and over again, especially when it comes to like writing, or like if you're trying to come up with new innovative ways to market, or if you are just, I don't know, there's a million ways you can put this, but if you're just feeling not inspired and you're not feeling like I'm going to complete this task, just leave it alone for a minute, because I will find some time between that time and then maybe you taking action is really helpful, because, sometimes we are going to be focusing on things so much that we can't see outside of the situation. And sometimes you do need to take that break and step back for a minute just to see the outside, just to see like, oh, maybe that's why I'm feeling this way. Or, oh, you know what? Now that I've taken a break from that, like I can actually see what I want to do. Or, you know what? Maybe you got inspiration during that time of silence or the break or what have you. And you really got, that vision and that intuition. Trusting your intuition sometimes is really hard for us as human beings, right? Like, and I just watched something the other day, and I don't know if this is exactly true or not, but they said when it's intuition, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your stomach. So if you're feeling something in your stomach and your gut, you should really listen to that. But if it's really feeling like too hard, too pushed, too not organic to yourself, just take a break from it for a little bit and come back to it, because I promise you, like, that will help you show up consistently. That will help your thought pattern be consistent. That will help your inspirational moments be consistent, and you're still being consistent by doing that. So you're still being consistent on executing whatever that original task was, or that original intuition moment, or what have you, because we're human beings, so we can't just go constantly. And so I think that's one thing that people think that coincides with being consistent is you can't just like give 100% every single day all the time. Like that's just not possible. So don't take those two things and misconstrue them. Like you can still be quote unquote consistent and still take breaks and still have those moments where you're like, I got to come back to that task. Okay. So hopefully that helps. If you're listening and you're like having a hard time being consistent and showing up consistently, wherever it is in your life and career, just know that like you can always come back to it. Okay. But hopefully these tips have helped, and hopefully you will show up consistently. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or a tip that you can use immediately. If you are wanting more marketing tips, business tips, or anything like that, I have a lot of resources on my website. So I have PDFs that you can download for free. So look in your show notes. There should be a link in the show notes that you can click on, and it'll take you right to my coaching website. And thanks for listening.